What's up, man?
What's up, Randall?
How you doing?
Dude, I could not be better. Do you know why?
Why? Tell me why.
Because we're announcing the Vendoroo and Rentvine
Incredible.
official integration.
Yeah.
It's been happening for some time,
Yeah.
but now it's announced.
I'm so stoked. Let me tell you what I'm most excited about in that regard. I feel like you guys are so innovative and you're looking to change the script. I think you kind of see that property managers need better technology, better solutions, and in the AI world, you guys are leading the way. I like to think of Rentvine as somewhat of a disruption, player, someone who's kind of trying to give property managers what they really need. So unification, joining up of those two forces and be able to give property managers a lot more of what they need to do better,
Man, as I came into this space and I understood what you were doing that was different than everyone else was doing, you guys have really gone in and understood the problems of today's property managers in relation to the options they have to solve their problems as of today.
Yeah, 100%.
It feels like other people in this space, it happens a lot and it's very natural, but a lot of folks see the future and they try to bring the past forward with them to adapt it to where they think things are going. Rentvine and Vendoroo, I believe, are two of the companies that are standing in the future and reverse engineering it. And I think that works a lot better.
And we're trying. I think the big thing is just recognizing that today's investor, today's demographic is very different than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, even 10 years. So a lot of people have been around the industry for a long time, but if you would have asked just a stranger off the street, close your eyes, picture a property manager 10 years ago, you would have gotten Mr. Roper from Three's Company if you're old enough, or you would have gotten some guy, plunging toilets, or that's just not today's modern property manager. It's not what the owners are expecting, and it's certainly not what the tenants are expecting.
Correct.
They're going to want modern solutions. They're going to want AI. They're going to want things that feel like tech today, and that's kind of what Vendoroo's doing. I feel like that's what
100%.
Rentvine's doing as well.
I think your UX screams today's tech.
We're trying.
It screams today's tech, unlike all the others.
Yeah.
We know it because our clients, with the Vendoroo integration into Rentvine, they basically get to just work inside their property management system and run their maintenance program inside of Rentvine, while these AI teammates get to do all this mundane thing that used to take up a lot of mental load and time and to-do lists. They get to do it with full access. You don't really have to change much of your habits. You can continue to work in Rentvine. So we see the Rentvine UX every single day.
And let me tell you this. Let me recognize you guys, because obviously, Rentvine, the whole philosophy on the open API was to have amazing partners like you be able to build what you guys need and want to deliver a better solution to the customers. And just a big shout out, because the tech lift, you guys handled that. You took it by the horns and you just wrote the code that you needed to write to be able to empower property managers and tenants and owners to get what they need. But can you share any of the details on what that might mean for property managers?
100%. So say that there is a property with a pool that has some particular instructions. All you have to do is put that inside of your maintenance notes, inside of Rentvine, and the AI, what we call PMRoo, right? This is your superstar AI, like ChatGPT assistant that knows everything about everything that's happening in a maintenance thing. So, and that's the center of the intelligence. That will always scan the property notes inside of Rentvine first before moving on to making any kind of decision, right? So
that's
you can
so
really
cool.
Be very individualistic about the things you want it to know, because the way that it makes decisions, it looks at maintenance notes first, then it looks at whatever client-wide policies you might have, then it looks at your policies, and then it goes into the 7 years of experience as a maintenance coordinator that it already has. So it starts in Rentvine, your ability to just keep it live there, and it's able to know all the things that you put in there immediately.
That's the kind of integration that's game-changing, because I always say, the last thing a property manager wants to do is manage their business from 7 different screens. Right? The more you can consolidate, the more you can get those types of integrations, it's going to allow that property manager to be more efficient, to kind of bring everybody along on the same page and get the communication clear. And that today is what the investor wants. They want better communication. They want better services. They want easier access to their data. Tenants want the same thing. They want an up-to-date status on, hey, how is the pool access? What's going on with this repair? And so having that integration with you guys is just crucial.
Yeah, speaking of communication, for us, it's really important to understand the insight beyond the status.
Yeah.
Right? Like
love
what,
that.
what the status is, it's like, what is the thing that I
Yeah.
need to know about the status to move it forward, right? Like that's the thing. And inside of Rentvine, when it comes to communication, every communication that the AI has with the resident, with the vendor, coordinating things, it all gets logged inside of your property notes so that you can see
Makes
all
sense.
of it historically.
Yeah.
And with the PMRU, right, like you can just go in and say, it's like a Google Chrome extension or a Teams extension that sits on top of like while you're doing your thing, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And instead of work order diving and trying to like make sense of all these different things, you can go, hey, why is it that the resident and the vendor kind of like had a thing here? And it'll tell you what happened. Right? It'll summarize and tell you the sentiment of what's
It's the
up.
funniest thing in the world, because that's my measurement of like true disruption is when you explain something and I'm over here going, of course that's the way it should be.
Of course.
Why didn't someone think of that before? It's like my analogy is always, hey, everyone thought taxis were okay until Uber came along, and then you realize what a mediocre experience you were having. You were totally having a mediocre experience, but no one ever stopped to question or ask and say, hey, is there a better way? So it's just intuitive.
Of course, I should know where it is and what.
Yeah.
It's
You think you should know the details of the status of this repair? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And to your point, like owners and residents wanting quicker answers, right? Like now, instead of trying to figure out something for half an hour, 2 hours, you have an instant response and you can give them what they want.
Absolutely. Love that.
The other thing that we believe, as far as like agentic AI goes, right? So it's like number one, it's having access to all the context and everything that you can keep it organized, the clear communications, the shortened gap. We believe that if somebody's building an AI with the mentality of a teammate, is that they should operate the way that you would want it to be done.
Of course.
And that's why it has to work inside of your software, because you're not going to be like, no, you hire somebody like, well, I'm bringing in my own tools and everybody else has to learn to use them, right? A, and B, it has to be done like you. So one of the things that while you are looking at what the AI is doing inside of Rentvine, if you have the thing open and you're like, oh, actually, I wish that you would have done it this way.
Yeah.
You can just at Vendoroo inside of your maintenance notes and say, hey, next time you do it this way. And now, vroom, your process is updated. And that is what it does from henceforth. Like if you were to tell an employee, hey, I'd rather you speak like this, except they're never going to forget. And they're always going to do it. And they're not going to resent you for it.
And they're going to do it perfectly.
And you don't have to repeat it over and over again. You do it once, like it's cool.
That's what I love, man. That's like true bleeding edge type of AI forward thinking. And so I just appreciate what you guys are doing. Appreciate this integration. We're so stoked about it, and I think customers are going to love it.
Yeah, me too, man. Speaking of appreciating, man, like I just gave you my book, right? Like I see you as somebody that has come into this industry, the way that people talk about you, like the way that everybody that, if you say the word Randall Henderson, the way that people talk about you, I think is a testament to a long track record of serving others. And man, I really aspire to like be spoken about that way. So this book and all the stuff that we're putting out, man, like it's really something that I'm like modeling. Yeah. Kind of like the path that you
it's funny. I draw inspiration from the fact that you came into this space. You have just dug deep into understanding the core problems and challenges, and here you are a year or two later, like publishing a book, and like. It's amazing. Yeah, like I flipped through it and appreciate the copy, by the way. If you haven't got a copy, like Pablo is generous enough to be handing these things out and signing them, which is amazing.
Can I just say that yesterday Roland was like, hey, what was your highlight of the day? I'm like, well, I've never had a line of people waiting to get my autograph before.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. And so like I just appreciate how you've disrupted the space, how you've come in and driven it forward. And when I think about like there's leading edge of AI, pushing things forward. And then there's bleeding edge. And Vendoroo and you, Pablo, you guys are on the bleeding edge. You are pushing that forward. You are pushing through the pain, the resistance to change, and you're creating something cool and different. And that's Pablo Gonzalez. Like when I think about you, it's disruption, it's change, it's challenging the status quo, and it's pushing everybody to a better experience in property management. So you are establishing that legacy, man. Congrats on what you've done
through
so
the
far.
pipes of what you guys have built and the philosophy of an open architecture that allows the collaboration.
That's why it makes sense for us to do it together, man. Thank you.